Hi, I'm Jay Thomas from jthomasauto.ca, and I'm at the Saskatoon South Hyundai dealership, which is also home to Saskatchewan's own Genesis dealership. And I'm actually here to show you a brand new car called the Genesis G70 sedan, which is brand new for 2019. Now, if you have never heard of Genesis, it's kind of Hyundai's luxury brand, just the way that Lexus is to Toyota or Acura is to Honda. So I thought we'd actually take a look at it, go for a drive, and get a feel for the car that I have had a chance to drive myself, and I really like the thing. So come on over here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the G70 sedan, and this is actually the top trim level you're gonna see out there. There are 6 trim levels available. This is the 3.3 twin turbocharged Sport Edition. Now, they range basically from $42,000 for the entry-level Genesis G70 all the way up to this one, which is that $57,500. So a really great price point, and you'll be amazed at all the different technology you get with this, all the performance as well that you get for that price. It's pretty amazing actually when you think about the competition and what you can pay for sometimes with the price. So let's start with the outside. I'll take you around some of the car, and we'll go inside, have a look at that and some of the technology, and then we'll go for a little bit of a drive and see what it's like. What I really like about this to start, if you look at the front end of this thing, is the headlight system is absolutely amazing. Adaptive headlights means that we've got a full LED headlight system. The high beam's buried under here, your daytime running lights, this little strip, and your main projector beam that are also LED. The greatest thing that I love about the top trim level with the adaptive lighting though, is that they're auto leveling and they swivel around corners too. So it's perfect for those dark nights. Say you're out in the country, that sort of thing, and you're at a dark corner. Those headlights actually point to where you're turning to as well, which is really cool. Buried behind this little plate right here is part of the safety package that's basically a standard option. It's on every level, every trim level of G70 you're going to find. So it's adaptive cruise control, it's lane keep assist as well, emergency braking, pedestrian detection, things like that. That's part of the system involved there. Underneath this hood is the 3.3 liter V6. It's direct injection, twin turbocharged, and makes about 365 horsepower, about 370 pound-feet of torque, and that comes in right around 1400 RPM. So you get a lot of punch right off the line with this thing. It drives super well. All G70s come as all-wheel drive except for one trim level, which I think is my favorite because it's called the Sport, and it's got the 2-liter twin single turbocharged engine in it, but it comes with a 6-speed manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. So for the person who's looking for that real sporty version of this car, that's the one that's got you really connected. This one, on the other hand, though, of course, is definitely the fastest one out there with the twin-turbo V6. So come around here. This is another great option that comes with the Sport package. These are 4-piston Brembo brake calipers and rotors, and one thing I loved about driving this car, I got to drive it for a full day, the braking feel is absolutely incredible. It's such a perfect balance between a nice feel. It's not that, trigger braking, but yet it's got some great feel to it, but it's not mushy or saggy or things like that. The bite is just where you want it to be. The control is always perfect. Now this guy right now has got, in fact, winter tires on it, but you get some really high performance Michelin tires when you order the Sport package like this, or the Sport package with the 6-speed manual transmission. I think it's just overall a great looking vehicle. The lines of it are so sleek. It's really well designed. The proportions are great where the nose has got a little more length to it, sort of a short overhang in the rear of this car. Part of the Sport package, again, is kind of unique front fascias, but also this, as you can see, sort of dark chrome trim, which is really super unique. It's kind of accented throughout the car, on the wheels, things like that. Of course, you get full LED headlights, but also full LED tail lights, twin tipped exhaust, which you'll see in a second as well. A decent amount of trunk room in this, which is great. There is actually still enough room for a set of golf clubs in there, or if you're traveling, and you have 4 adults in here, enough room for all of their luggage totally as well. So it's beautiful that way. Now, being the top trim level, the Sport with the 3.3, this has got the quilted Napa leather. And this package comes with the red Brembo brakes, but you can see the red matching stitching and the quilting. Now it's in the sides, it's also in the seats as you get a look in there, and it's perfectly comfortable and beautiful leather. A little bit of red, not too much, it's not too over the top, it's not too flashy. And I think that's kind of what this, this car is summed up as, is that it's got such great balance. When it comes to the looks, the style, it's very classy looking, sporty, athletic, but not too over the top, not too aggressive, not too juvenile. It's a grown-up feeling with this car, and the interior is beautiful as well. Let's hop inside and take a look at that. Well, welcome to the interior of the 2019 Genesis G70 sedan. Now this, of course, like I've been saying, is the 3.3T Sport. So it's the top trim level and comes in at about $57,500, which is an incredible deal for the equipment you get in this vehicle. And I want to take you through some of the systems that you can see and hear and experience. It's pretty well equipped for even what you're going to compare it to in the sports sedan market. So let's start. How about on this side? Of course, we were talking before about the quilted Napa leather you get in here with the diamond stitching, which is absolutely beautiful, but it's also very comfortable. Now there's a push button start, of course. That's no surprise in a car this price range. In fact, almost becoming standard equipment on a lot of vehicles these days. I'll point this out, Genesis Connected Services. And of course, with that, you're also going to know that your car connected to your phone, your smartphone, using an app. So that's going to show you things like what you have left for till your next oil change, or if you want to remote start your vehicle from anywhere, as long as the car and your phone have a 4G connection, you can do that. So remote start, totally an option, which is great. Also with that, while we're on the topic of service though, what's so appealing about this car is that Genesis Canada offers your service included in the price of this car for 5 years or 100,000 kilometers. Not only that, but they've got the executive service with that, in which they're going to pick your car up for you, take it in for service. It'll all be covered. You get a loaner, another Genesis loaner, then they drop it off back to you. So it's kind of valet executive service you get with Genesis, and that's exclusive to Genesis here in Canada, outside of the Hyundai brand. So that being said, with the seating I was talking about, you get full, in this trim level, dual seats, so the passenger seat is full power as well. What I find really cool, on the screen, when you actually make a move for your seat, it shows you what direction you're moving things. But on top of that, you can actually control the side bolsters of this seat, which is really neat. 4-position lumbar, as you can see, moving there. And what's really neat, when we get into the drive modes you can use on this car, when you put it in sport, those side bolsters actually squeeze in and tighten up on you for the sporty driving you're about to be doing. Okay, let's start on this side. Of course, talking about the seats, you also have position memory, right? So you've got driver 1 and driver 2. You can set that up, and that's to remember your seat position and a bunch of other things in the vehicle, how you like the mirrors, settings for the climate, radio, that sort of thing. The steering wheel, tilt and telescopic, is powered. That comes along with that setting as well, so it's memorized with the key and the seating at your position you want. I really love how well laid out this car is. The ergonomics are excellent. The seat is super comfortable. The armrests are just where you want them to be. Everything is laid out in a great range of motion from where you're sitting, so there's no far reaching to anything like that as well. You've got a heated steering wheel, you've got heated and cooled and ventilated seats with this as well, and there really isn't anything this car is missing. Now, a couple special things that are really unique that I think Genesis did so well in this vehicle has got to be heads-up display. Now, it's really hard for me to show you what that is, but basically from my seat, I can see in the very bottom of my windscreen basically there it is, holograph. You can just make it out right there. And that actually shows your speed as you're driving, but with the safety suite that the Genesis has, it also shows you your lane keep assist, and if the camera is recognizing everything, and it shows you your distance with your cruise control and adaptive cruise control. So with that, it gives you a lot of information. It also gives you information based on navigation, if your next turn is coming up, or what the speed limit even is of the road that you're driving on. So that's absolutely excellent. This system in terms of connectivity, features everything you'd expect, and it's well laid out and easy to use with all the menus. You can of course get into your phone, but there's Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. And with the system, you also get a great stereo. Lexicon, I believe it's got 15 speakers. The sound is absolutely incredible. Of course, XM satellite radio, everything you'd expect. Navigation works absolutely fantastic as well. So, this car is so well equipped. The seating is excellent. The controls are excellent. Everything you're looking for in a vehicle, of course, a beautiful sunroof in here as well. So why don't we take it for a drive, and we'll talk, really the best part about this vehicle is how it drives. Okay, let's go for a drive in this thing. Before we set off, though, I want to show you a couple of things that I really like about the G70. First off, down here, you'll see drive mode selector, and you basically have Smart, and you can see the screen there, it shows you that. That's going to mean that the vehicle learns as you go. From there, we've got Eco, which of course just seeks out the best fuel economy, and it's a very relaxed drive. From there, Comfort is sort of a normal mode in terms of everything when it comes to the engine, transmission settings, all-wheel drive settings, the feel of your accelerator pedal. And then from there, we go into Sport, of course, and that just tightens everything up, makes everything a little more reactionary. So it really gives you the best of everything. But on top of that, down here, there's also a button for your park assist, brake hold, which means when you come to a stop, it's going to hold that where you are, your traction control, and a very cool button that I very much like, which is the all-round camera view. From there, if we put the car into reverse, you'll see that it gives you not only a reverse camera here, but also around the screen picture, basically using 4 different cameras. It stitches an image together of your entire surroundings on the vehicle, making it super easy to help you parking up against a curb, say you don't want to scratch those nice 20-inch wheels on this thing. It works great, and you can actually change the views from there as well. Let's take off. The only thing before I want to show you is actually this, which just takes a little bit of getting used to. That's the only thing that's a little different with the Genesis, is you've got a shifter with reverse, neutral, and drive, but your park button is up here. So you put the car into park using a button, and then to set off, you just grab the side trigger, pull it down into drive. A little different than conventional, but just would be a matter of getting used to when you drive this sedan around. Let's go for a drive. So, driving the G70 is a pretty great experience when you consider the price point of this vehicle. The twin turbocharged 3.3 liter V6 really goes, and you really have a lot of throw you back in your seat pep. In fact, 0 to 60 comes at like 4.7 seconds, which is, well, sports car territory really when it comes down to it. This car is really well balanced. So what I really like is everything is a good mix between sporty and refined luxury. So you'll find that the steering has got a really nice weight to it, and depending on what drive setting you put it in, you'll find it can be quite relaxed at times, or if you put it into the sport setting, it becomes very proactive in terms of the steering. What I mean is, it's that great tip in, that great balance when you're going around a corner. The brakes I talked about before, the Brembo brakes are excellent. It's just the right amount of feel, combination of bite, not too much pedal travel, but yet not, switch-like brakes. Sometimes you drive a sports car and every time you hit the brakes, you're almost knocking yourself out on the steering wheel. This is the perfect balance between that. The throttle, and in terms of the power, in Eco or the normal comfort setting, you're going to find, quite reactionary, but not too extreme. You get into sport mode, and that's where it actually does become very quick. So a small amount of throttle pedal movement makes quite a difference in how fast the car is accelerating in terms of that. The transmission never seems to be confused. It's an 8-speed automatic, and it always seems to know exactly what gear to be in. So that's pretty impressive. In fact, this transmission is also in tests shown to be very quick in terms of its reaction time. So it never feels like it's hunting for gears or, sloppy in between shifts, things like that. I love driving it. That's the great thing about it, is you'd really notice when you get in this car how nice it is to drive. And it actually gives you that, I don't know, I guess maybe you call it the fizz. You know, it's that feeling like you want to drive it. Some cars are very luxurious, they can be very quick, but they can also be very dull. And I find this car, this G70, to be quite engaging in terms of its drive. It's not so extreme that it's a workout to drive it. It still can be quite relaxing to drive as well, but it's engaging, and I really like that feeling. The suite of safety features on the vehicle work absolutely flawlessly as well. I know lane keep assist systems sometimes have a tendency to kind of bounce back and forth between the lanes, and I really like on this car that you can basically set it and, well, let go. And as you see, we're just kind of keeping right in the middle of this lane. Right now we've got lane keep assist engaged. We also have adaptive cruise control engaged. You can determine, of course, the depth, how far you want it to keep between yourself and the vehicle in front of you. And then when it does actually, you know, detect a vehicle, it shows you a little icon on your heads-up display as well. Right now in my heads-up display, I'm actually seeing the speed limit posted as well and what your actual speed is. It's a full color heads-up display. It works really well, and the lane keep assist system is definitely one of the best I've experienced out there. I have been in ones before that really only make an adjustment once you're crossing the white line or the dotted line, and this one does a great job of being almost autonomous. Of course, you can't let go of the steering wheel for forever because eventually it detects that you're not touching it, so it gives you a warning. And it even has, this car even has basically a driver alert system. So it's you know, looking at parameters of you and kind of watching you, and if it detects you're not really paying attention, it lets you know and gives you an audible warning and sound as well. So the technology in this car is right on par, and I think it's brilliant as well. Thought we'd put it into sport mode now, see if we can get around the cloverleaf here. Now, of course, it's kind of winter, but, you know, the car does a great job. The all-wheel drive, I've driven in some snow now, works absolutely flawlessly. It's got a limited slip rear differential as part of the all-wheel drive system too, which just gives you one level more traction, of course, in poor conditions. So never once, even when it was snowing when I was driving this car, did I have a problem with traction at all. It just seemed totally flawless throughout the snow. And of course, with that limited slip diff, helps even more with the sporty handling when you're taking a corner and you want that power in the right place. Okay, so here we are coming back into Saskatchewan Genesis dealership, which is Saskatoon South Hyundai. And you know, overall, driving this Genesis is such a rewarding experience. I really do enjoy it. I think the main theme of this car is balance. You know, it's got great handling, it's got really attractive looks, nothing is too over the top, nothing's too extreme, nothing is too harsh. Everything is nice to the touch in here. The comfort is excellent. You know, even the design of the buttons and the layout of things, they have the right feeling, the right textile feeling to them. So Genesis has done an excellent job of producing such a well-rounded car, and of course brand new for 2019. On top of that, like I mentioned before, one of the excellent parts about this is that in the price of these vehicles, which is an astounding price if you ask me, basically between $42,000 and $57,500, that also includes your valet service when it comes to getting your vehicle serviced, but all the cost of your service. So excluding wear items like tires and brakes, all your oil changes and regular maintenance are included for 5 years or 100,000 kilometers. And compared to the competition, some of those services can be extremely expensive. So that's a huge value. Not to mention too, basically you get in touch with your Genesis dealer and say, well, it's time for an oil change. They come pick up your vehicle, drop you off a loaner, take your vehicle, get it serviced, it doesn't cost you anything, and bring it back to you all cleaned up and ready to go. So, I mean, the value in that is absolutely incredible for, you know, the busy business person, you know, wherever you are. This is the car that's going to get it done, and they'll take care of it for you, basically without even much involvement, without you even really needing to worry about it or, you know, take your vehicle in, that sort of thing. I think it's an excellent vehicle. It's really well equipped. It's fun to drive. And if you want more, well, come see Saskatoon South Hyundai, your Genesis dealer in Saskatchewan. I'm Jay Thomas. You can find more videos like this at jthomasauto.ca.